Liam had always been a simple man. He didn't ask for much in life. A steady job, a quiet routine, and a peaceful existence were enough for him. As a maintenance worker aboard the Starship Elysian, his life revolved around fixing pipes, checking circuits, and making sure that everything ran smoothly. He wasn't one for big adventures or fame, and the idea of anything extraordinary happening to him seemed far-fetched. Today was like any other. He had his tools strapped to his belt, a spare part in hand, and his focus on the task ahead. The ship was vast, and there were always systems that needed attention. He had just finished repairing the lighting in the lower levels of the ship and was now heading to the engine room for a quick checkup. The humming of the ship's engines was a familiar sound that had always brought him comfort. As Liam walked down the long, empty hallway, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. He paused, looking around. There was a faint noise, like something moving in the distance. He squinted into the dim lighting and saw a figure. It was an alien girl, standing by one of the ventilation shafts. Her bright, glowing eyes locked onto his, and she didn't seem to be afraid of him or, in fact, she looked almost curious. Liam froze, unsure what to do. He had never seen her before. She didn't look like any alien species he was familiar with. She had long silver hair that shimmered in the light, and her skin seemed to be a mixture of deep green and purple, glowing softly in the dim corridor. Her clothes were different too, not the standard uniform worn by other alien species on board the ship. She was small, maybe just a little taller than Liam, and her face, though young, carried an air of calm confidence. "Can I help you?" Liam asked, trying his best to sound calm. His heart was racing, and his mind was spinning. This wasn't normal. What was an alien girl doing here, and why was she just standing there, staring at him? The girl tilted her head, slightly, as if she didn't quite understand what he was asking. Then, without a word, she moved toward him in a swift, almost fluid motion. Liam stepped back, feeling a strange chill run down his spine. He wasn't sure whether to trust her. Before he could react, she reached out and, to his complete shock, bit him on the arm. Hard. Liam let out a yelp, pulling his arm back and stumbling away from her. "What the?" he started, but the words died in his throat. The girl didn't seem aggressive, just ... determined. She stepped back slightly, as if waiting for something. Her eyes glowed more brightly now, and Liam noticed a strange, almost magical energy surrounding her. It wasn't just the light from the ship, something else was happening here. Before he could ask another question, a booming voice echoed down the halls. The voice called. It was deep, strong, and authoritative. Liam turned to see a tall, imposing figure step into view. The woman was an alien, just like the girl, but much older and far more intimidating. She had a regal presence, with dark purple skin, golden eyes, and long flowing hair. She wore a crown-like headpiece that added to her royal aura. The girl Seldra, Liam now knew, looked at the woman and bowed her head. The older alien woman approached Liam slowly, her eyes narrowing as she assessed him. "You are the one she has chosen." The alien queen's voice was calm but firm, and it sent a chill down Liam's spine. What do you mean?" Liam stammered, confused and still reeling from the bite. The woman didn't respond at first. Instead, she reached out and gently touched his bitten arm, her fingers glowing with a soft light. The pain from the bite vanished in an instant, replaced by a warm feeling that spread through his body. "I am Queen Ileana," the woman introduced herself, still watching Liam closely. "And this is my daughter, Princess Seldra. She has chosen you, human. You are her mate." Liam's mouth went dry. "Mate? What are you talking about?" He looked from Seldra to Queen Ileana, trying to make sense of the situation. This was insane. He was just a maintenance guy, a nobody. Why would an alien princess choose him, of all people? Queen Ileana's expression softened slightly, but her eyes remained serious. "In our culture, when a female chooses a mate, is binding. Seldra has made her choice. The bite you received marks the beginning of the bond. You are hers and she is yours." Liam felt his mind spin. This can't be happening. "I'm just a guy who fixes things. I don't know anything about alien customs or..." "You will learn, human," the queen interrupted. "It is not a choice, but a bond. You are now connected, whether you wish it or not." Liam couldn't believe what he was hearing. His mind was racing, but there was one thing he couldn't deny. A strange pull toward Seldra, something deep inside him that said this wasn't just a misunderstanding. "Why me?" Liam asked, his voice quieter now, but filled with confusion. "I'm nobody. I'm just here to fix pipes and systems." Queen Ileana stepped closer, her eyes never leaving his. "Because she chose you, and now, you must accept it." Liam looked at Seldra, her soft, glowing eyes looking up at him with a calm, almost peaceful expression. He wanted to say something, to refuse this bizarre fate, but the words wouldn't come. It was as if something inside him had already accepted it. The Queen's gaze softened, almost approving. There is much to learn, human, but you will find your place among us. As Seldra's mate, you will have responsibilities, not only to her but to our people. Liam was overwhelmed, his thoughts in chaos. This couldn't be real, could it? How had his life turned upside down so quickly? But before he could process any more, Queen Ileana spoke again, her voice more serious now. We'll take you to our quarters. There, you will be prepared for what comes next. Liam swallowed hard. There was no turning back now. His life was no longer just about fixing things. Liam couldn't believe what was happening. Just moments ago, he was a simple maintenance guy, fixing a broken pipe in a quiet corner of the ship. Now, he was standing in front of an alien queen, and her daughter who had just bitten him and declared that he was her mate. He rubbed his arm, still trying to shake off the strange warmth that had spread through his body after the bite. It didn't hurt anymore, but he couldn't forget what had just happened. Seldra, the alien princess, stood beside her mother watching Liam closely. She didn't seem scared, but her expression was one of calm determination. The bite hadn't just been a strange act, it had been a ritual, something important to her people. Liam could see that, but he couldn't understand why it had to involve him. He wasn't special. He wasn't anyone important. Queen Ileana, the imposing alien mother, took a step forward. She was taller than Liam, with her dark purple skin glowing softly in the dim light. Her golden eyes locked onto his, and Liam felt a chill run down his spine. You will learn to accept your new role, human, the Queen said, her voice smooth and powerful. There is no turning back now. Seldra has chosen you. Liam took a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves. I don't understand. I'm just a guy who fixes things. I'm not, he stopped, realizing how foolish it sounded to argue. But he needed answers, and he needed them fast. You are now bound to my daughter, Queen Ileana interrupted. You are not just a maintenance worker anymore. You are part of our world, whether you wish it or not. Her voice softened, almost as if she were trying to comfort him. But the message was clear, this wasn't a choice. Liam felt a wave of frustration rise within him. He wasn't ready for this. He had his own life, his own plans, and none of them had ever included being bonded to an alien princess. He tried to speak again, but the words felt stuck in his throat. Seldra, who had been silent until now, took a small step forward. Her eyes were filled with an odd mix of curiosity and something else, something Liam couldn't quite place. I didn't choose you out of convenience, Liam, she said softly. I chose you because I feel a connection, a bond. Her voice was quiet but firm. I didn't expect it to happen this way, but it's real. Liam was quiet for a moment, still processing everything. So, this is normal, you just pick someone like that. He gestured at the bite mark on his arm, still stunned by the turn of events. No, Seldra answered, shaking her head. It's not normal for everyone, but it's normal for us. Our people have been bonded for centuries, and it's always been part of our way of life. The bond is not just physical, it's spiritual, emotional. When someone is chosen, it's not just by chance. It's a deep, powerful connection. Liam looked at her, still not fully understanding. But why me? Why not someone else? Queen Ileana stepped in, her voice calm but filled with authority. That is not for you to question. The bond between you and Seldra was meant to be. Your destiny is now tied to hers. There is nothing you can do to change it. Liam couldn't argue with that. He didn't know what kind of power the alien queen held, but he could sense that she wasn't lying. He had been thrust into something much bigger than himself. His life had been ordinary, boring, even, but now, he was caught up in something completely unknown. Seldra's mother continued. There are many things you don't understand yet, but you will. This bond between you and my daughter is not just for our people. It has implications beyond what you can imagine. She paused, her golden eyes studying him carefully. You will be trained. You will learn the ways of our people, and in time, you will understand the responsibility that comes with your new role. Liam could feel his heart racing again. I didn't ask for any of this. I'm just trying to do my job. This isn't what I signed up for. I understand, Seldra said, her voice softer now. I didn't choose this either, but the connection is real, and we have to face it. Liam wanted to say something, to protest, but the words wouldn't come. He wanted to leave, to go back to his quiet life of fixing pipes and ignoring the rest of the universe. But it was too late. This bond, this alien connection, had already been formed, and there was no way to break it. The Queen watched them both. her eyes filled with an unreadable emotion. "You will come with us," she said firmly. "There is much to prepare for, and you are needed." She turned toward the hallway and gestured for them to follow. "You will begin your training immediately." Liam looked at Seldra, who was still beside him. She gave him a soft, almost apologetic smile, as if she understood the chaos in his mind. With a heavy sigh, he followed them. There was no turning back now. The ship was still a vast maze of hallways, but now, they felt different. Every step he took seemed to carry more weight, more responsibility. He wasn't just a maintenance worker anymore. He wasn't just a nobody. He was someone's mate, someone important. As they walked, Liam couldn't help but wonder what his future would look like. What kind of life would he have now that his fate was bound to an alien princess? He couldn't answer that yet, but one thing was certain. Nothing would ever be the same again. Liam followed Seldra and Queen Ileana through the vast, unfamiliar halls of the ship. The quiet hum of the engines was louder here, and the corridors seemed endless. The further they walked, the more he realized just how much he didn't understand about his situation. Nothing about his life had prepared him for this. He wasn't trained for politics, alien cultures, or royal traditions. He was just a guy who knew how to fix broken things. Now, he was walking alongside a princess and a queen, trying to make sense of what had just happened. As they entered a large, beautifully decorated room, Queen Ileana stopped and turned to face him. The room was filled with soft light and alien artwork, some of which seemed to shimmer in ways that Liam couldn't explain. The walls were lined with strange symbols, and the air smelled faintly of something floral, though he couldn't identify it. "This is where you will stay," Queen Ileana said, her voice calm but carrying a sense of finality. "We will begin your training here." Liam looked around, unsure what he was supposed to do next. "Training?" he asked, still trying to grasp everything. "What kind of training?" Seldra stepped forward, her soft voice echoing in the quiet room. "You will learn the ways of my people. The bond between us isn't just emotional. It also involves learning how to support one another. My people believe in unity and strength, in bonds. As my mate, you will need to understand these things, Liam." He nodded slowly, still processing. "But I don't even know what that means. I fix things." "That will change," Queen Ileana interjected. "The bond is more than just a label. You will be part of our world now, and part of our responsibilities. As Seldra's chosen mate, you will be expected to learn about our culture, our people, and the role you will play. This is not a casual thing, Liam. You will be involved in matters far beyond what you understand." Liam felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He was a maintenance guy. He had no idea how he was supposed to step up to the challenges they were talking about. He wasn't sure if he even wanted to. But as he glanced at Seldra, he saw something in her eyes, a quiet strength, but also a kind of trust. It was almost as if she believed he could do it. "Why me?" he asked, looking between the two of them. "Why did Seldra choose me? There had to be someone better, someone trained for this kind of thing." Seldra gave him a soft smile. "It wasn't a choice based on what you do or don't do. It's not about training or titles, it's about the bond. I didn't choose you because you are the best at anything. I chose you because I felt something when we met." Real. Liam ran a hand through his hair, still confused. He had never thought much about fate or destiny before, but this felt too big to be a coincidence. He was just an ordinary guy, far from the kind of person who should be linked to someone so important. Yet here he was, standing in front of an alien queen and her daughter, being told that his life was changing forever. Queen Ileana turned toward a large panel on the wall. She pressed a button, and the panel lit up, revealing a series of images. They were of distant planets, strange landscapes, and people with features unlike anything Liam had seen before. "These are the worlds that our people have touched," the Queen explained. "We are part of something much larger than ourselves. This bond you share with Seldra isn't just about her, it's about uniting different worlds, bringing our people together." Liam stepped closer to the panel, squinting at the images. "So, I'm supposed to help with all of this?" he asked, his voice unsure. "You are a part of it now," Queen Ileana replied. "It is not just Seldra's future, but yours as well. You must understand the importance of our people's connection to the galaxy." Seldra walked over to Liam, her eyes full of sincerity. "I know this is a lot to take in. I didn't expect it either. But the bond we share, it's not something you can ignore. It's the foundation for everything that will come next." Liam turned back to the images on the wall, trying to wrap his mind around everything. He was from Earth, a place no one here had even heard of. He was no warrior, no diplomat, but somehow he had been thrust into the middle of something that seemed so much bigger than him. What do I need to do? He asked, finally resigned to the idea that this wasn't something he could walk away from. He could try to resist, but the more he thought about it, the more he realized that he had already accepted the bond. There was no turning back now. Queen Ileana nodded, her expression softening just a little. You will learn the customs of our people. You will understand the politics of the galaxy, how we interact with other species. It will be a long journey, and it won't be easy, but you are not alone. You have Seldra by your side, and you will have our support. Liam looked at Seldra, who gave him a small, encouraging smile. He wasn't sure if he was ready for what lay ahead, but at least he wasn't alone in this. Okay, Liam said, his voice steady, though he was still nervous. I'll do it. I'll learn. Queen Ileana gave a slight nod, pleased with his answer. Good. The first lesson will begin tomorrow. Rest tonight, Liam. You will need your strength. As they left the room, Liam couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. He had agreed, but he didn't fully understand what he was agreeing to. He wasn't a hero, he wasn't a leader, but here he was, about to step into a world where he would have to become both. The weight of it all hung heavy on his shoulders as he walked beside Seldra, her presence beside him comforting, yet mysterious. What had he gotten himself into? Would he be able to live up to the expectations? Only time would tell. Liam couldn't help but feel overwhelmed. Every step he took seemed to lead him deeper into the unknown. He had only been a maintenance guy on this ship, and now he was expected to understand the ways of an entire alien civilization. And not just any civilization, one that was deeply connected to the galaxy's politics and history. There was so much to learn, and it felt like he was always one step behind. The next morning, Queen Ileana began Liam's training. He was led to a large room filled with strange devices and holographic screens. The air was different in here, charged with an energy that made Liam's skin tingle. It wasn't like anything he'd ever experienced before, and it was all tied to the bond with Seldra. You will start by learning about our history, Queen Ileana said, as she gestured toward a large holographic display that flickered to life. In front of him, this is the foundation of everything. Our people have lived in the galaxy for centuries, and our culture is built upon unity, strength, and the preservation of our people. Liam stood in front of the display, watching as the images shifted. He saw alien species of all shapes and sizes, some of them peaceful, others warlike. There were images of planets and star systems, and slowly, a story began to form. The bond you share with Seldra is not only personal, Queen Ileana continued, it is political. When two of our kind mate, it is seen as an alliance between our families and our people. The bond is a way to bring stability to the galaxy. It has been this way for generations. Liam listened carefully, but his mind was still reeling. He didn't feel like a leader. He didn't feel like someone who could change the fate of entire planets. But the more he listened, the more he realized that his role in this was not optional. So, this bond, it's like a marriage? Liam asked, still unsure about the words to use. I mean, it's not just about being with Seldra, right? There's more to it. Queen Ileana nodded. Yes, it is a form of marriage, but it's more than that. It is a union of minds, a joining of hearts and spirits. It strengthens our people and makes us stronger in the eyes of other civilizations. Seldra, who had been quietly standing nearby, stepped forward. I know this is a lot for you to understand, Liam, she said, her voice soft but earnest, but we are not asking you to become someone you are not. We are asking you to accept the bond and be part of something bigger than either of us. Liam looked at her, trying to grasp the magnitude of what she was saying. He wasn't sure he was ready for this, but there was something in her eyes, something that made him believe in her words. I'm not a leader, Liam said quietly. I don't know how to do all this. You don't have to do it alone, Seldra said, stepping closer to him. I will be with you every step of the way. We will learn together. Liam let out a long sigh, running a hand through his hair. I don't know if I can live up to what you expect of me. Queen Ileana spoke up. You do not have to live up to our expectations alone. You will learn from us, and you will teach us in return. This is not about perfection. It is about growth and understanding. The holographic display shifted again, showing a map of the galaxy. Stars, planets, and ships filled the screen. This, Queen Ileana said, pointing to the vastness of the stars, is where our people live and work. You will need to understand the politics, the alliances, and the enemies we face. When you are bonded to Seldra, you are bonded to all of this. Liam felt his heart race as he looked at the map. The galaxy stretched out before him, full of possibilities and dangers he couldn't even begin to understand. He wasn't sure if he was ready for it, but deep down, he knew he had no choice but to try. This is a lot to take in, Liam said. his voice shaking slightly. "But I'll try. I'll do my best." "That's all anyone can ask," Queen Ileana said, her tone softening. "The bond is not just a responsibility, it is an opportunity. An opportunity to change things, to make a difference. You and Seldra are part of a new future, one that will shape the galaxy." Liam looked at Seldra, who was still standing beside him. He could see the trust in her eyes, the belief she had in him. It was strange. He had never imagined that he would be the one to help lead this change. He had never thought of himself as anything more than a regular guy. But now, with Seldra at his side, he realized that maybe, just maybe, he had something to offer. "I won't let you down," Liam said, finally finding the words. "I'll learn what I need to. I'll do what I can to help." Seldra smiled, a bright warm smile that made Liam's heart flutter. "I know you will." Queen Ileana nodded, satisfied with his response. "Good, now, let's move on to your next lesson. You must understand the customs of our people. The bond is not just about your connection with Seldra, it is about how you interact with others, how you present yourselves as a united front." The lesson continued, and Liam listened closely. He had a lot to learn, but for the first time he felt like he was starting to understand his role. It wasn't going to be easy, and he wasn't sure if he was the right person for the job. But one thing was certain: his life had changed forever, and he was determined to make the most of it. Liam spent the next few days adjusting to his new life aboard the ship. Every day was filled with lessons, and every lesson seemed to bring more questions than answers. The bond with Seldra was growing stronger, but Liam wasn't sure if he was ready for the changes that came with it. He had been thrown into a world he didn't understand, and now he had to learn everything from scratch. Seldra was always there, helping him through it all. She was patient and kind, but Liam could see the weight on her shoulders. Being the princess of her people came with its own set of responsibilities, and Liam could sense that there was much more to her than she let on. He could see the strength in her, but there was also something hidden, something that she hadn't shared with him yet. One evening, as they walked through the ship's observation deck, Liam turned to Seldra. "You've been teaching me about your people's customs, but there's still so much I don't know about you," he said softly, watching the stars outside the large windows. "You've been so open with me, but I feel like there's something you're keeping from me." Seldra stopped walking, her gaze turning toward the stars. She didn't speak for a moment, and Liam could feel the tension in the air. Finally, she turned to him, her expression serious. "I'm not keeping anything from you," she said quietly. "But there are things about my past that I haven't shared. Things that are difficult to explain." Liam frowned, trying to understand. "What do you mean?" Seldra hesitated, her eyes looking far away, as if lost in thought. "Before I met you, my life was planned out for me. I had a future laid out by my people, a future I had no say in. I didn't choose to be a princess. I didn't choose the responsibilities that came with it. And I certainly didn't choose to be in this situation." Liam's heart ached for her. He couldn't imagine what it must have been like to have no control over her own future, to have everything decided for her. He reached out, placing a hand on her shoulder. "But now you're choosing something different. You chose me." Seldra smiled softly, but there was sadness in her eyes. "Yes, I did choose you. But that choice came with its own set of challenges. My people expect me to marry someone of royal blood, someone who can help strengthen the alliances between our planets. But when I met you, Liam, I felt something I couldn't ignore. The bond we share is real, but it's also dangerous." Liam felt a chill run down his spine. Dangerous? How Seldra took a deep breath, her eyes never leaving his. "There are enemies in the galaxy who would do anything to break the bond we share. They see it as a threat to their power. If they learn that I've chosen a human as my mate, they will stop at nothing to destroy it." Liam's mind raced. He had never thought of their bond as something dangerous. But now that Seldra had explained it, he understood. This wasn't just about them, it was about politics, power, and the fate of entire planets. He had no idea how he had ended up in the middle of it, but he couldn't back out now. "I won't let anything happen to you," Liam said, his voice firm. "We'll figure this out together. Whatever comes, we'll face it." Seldra's eyes softened, and for a moment Liam could see the relief in her expression. "I knew you would say that," she said quietly. "That's why I chose you. You're not afraid of what's to come." Liam nodded, feeling the weight of her words. He didn't know if he was ready for what lay ahead, but he had already made up his mind. He would protect her. He would protect their bond, no matter what. The next few days were tense. Queen Ileana continued to train Liam in the ways of her people, but the knowledge felt heavier with every passing hour. He was no longer just a maintenance guy. He was part of something much bigger, and the responsibility felt like it was slowly crushing him. But through it all, Seldra remained by his side, offering support when he needed it most. One evening, as they sat in a quiet corner of the ship's garden, Seldra spoke again, her voice almost a whisper. "There's more I need to tell you, Liam. About my people. About what's at stake." Liam turned to her, his heart beating faster. "What is it?" Seldra took a deep breath, her fingers lightly tracing the edge of the table in front of her. "The enemies I spoke of, they are not just from other planets. There are factions within my own people who do not approve of this bond. They believe that a human cannot be trusted with the power that comes with it. And if they learn the truth about us, they will stop at nothing to tear us apart." Liam felt a pit form in his stomach. "Are they that dangerous?" "They are more dangerous than you realize," Seldra said, her voice tinged with worry. "If they come for us, they won't just attack me. They will come after everything. They will destroy anything and anyone who stands in their way." Liam clenched his fists. He couldn't let that happen. He had come to care for Seldra more than he ever thought possible. And the thought of losing her, losing everything they were building together, was unbearable. "We'll stop them," Liam said, his voice steady. "We'll face whatever comes." Together, Seldra looked at him, her eyes shining with a mixture of hope and fear. "I'm glad you're with me, Liam. I don't know what the future holds, but I know that with you by my side, I'm not afraid." Liam smiled at her, though the fear was still there, lurking in the back of his mind. "We'll figure it out. We always do." But deep down, Liam knew that the real challenge was just beginning. Their bond was strong, but it was about to be tested in ways neither of them could have predicted. And as much as he wanted to believe they could handle whatever came their way, a part of him wondered if they were truly ready for the storm that was headed their way. The days passed quickly, and Liam found himself caught in the whirlwind of his new life. Each day brought something new: to learn new customs, new responsibilities, and new challenges. But as time went on, he began to feel a strange sense of belonging. The bond between him and Seldra was growing stronger with every passing hour, something he could feel deep within himself. At first it was hard to believe. He had been a simple maintenance worker living a quiet life. Now he was part of an alien royal family, learning the ways of a galaxy far beyond his own. The weight of it all sometimes felt overwhelming, but with Seldra by his side, Liam felt a sense of peace that he hadn't expected. One evening, as they sat in the quiet of the ship's garden, Seldra turned to him, her eyes thoughtful. "Liam," she said softly, "how are you feeling about everything?" Liam looked up at her, his heart skipping a beat. She had a way of making him feel like everything would be okay, even when he wasn't sure about it himself. "It's a lot to take in," he admitted. "I still don't understand everything, but I'm starting to feel like I belong here." Seldra smiled, her expression warm and full of understanding. "I'm glad you feel that way. I know it's not easy, but we're learning together. And you're doing great, Liam, better than I could have imagined." Liam's chest swelled with pride, but a nagging feeling still lingered. "But we're not out of danger yet, are we?" he asked, his voice low. The memory of their enemies, the factions within Seldra's own people who opposed their bond still, weighed heavily on his mind. "No," Seldra said, her voice steady but filled with determination. "But we're stronger than we were before. We have each other, and we have the support of my people. We can face whatever comes." Liam nodded, though the doubts still remained. He knew they were stronger together, but he also knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy. There were enemies out there who wanted to tear them apart, and they weren't going to stop. Still, he couldn't help but believe in the bond he shared with Seldra. It felt like something real, something that was worth fighting for. As the days turned into weeks, Liam's training continued. He learned more about the galactic politics, the different species, and the delicate alliances that held the galaxy together. The more he learned, the more he realized just how important the bond between him and Seldra was. It wasn't just a personal connection, it was a symbol of unity between their people, a way to bring peace to a galaxy that had seen far too much conflict. But the more Liam understood, the more he also saw the cracks beneath the surface. There were whispers among the crew, alien factions that viewed him with suspicion, and even Seldra's own people who weren't fully convinced that a human could be trusted with such power. It was clear that not everyone was happy about their bond, and some of them would go to great lengths to destroy it. One evening, Liam found himself alone in one of the ship's observation rooms, staring out at the stars. His thoughts were heavy, and he couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to happen. He had been trained, yes, but he still wasn't sure if he was ready for what was coming next. What if he failed? What if they couldn't protect their bond? Seldra entered the room quietly, her footsteps light on the floor. "Liam," she said softly, her voice full of concern, "you've been distant lately. Are you okay?" Liam turned to face her, his heart swelling at the sight of her. She was beautiful, strong, and yet still so vulnerable. He knew she felt the weight of everything, too. "I'm just worried," he admitted. "Worried about us. About everything." Seldra walked over to him and placed a hand on his arm, her touch warm and comforting. "I understand, I'm worried too. But we're not in this alone. We have each other, and we will face whatever comes together." Liam smiled at her, though his heart still felt heavy. "I know," he said quietly, "but sometimes it feels like we're being pulled in different directions. Like the bond we share is the only thing holding us together." Seldra's expression softened, and she stepped closer to him. "The bond we share is stronger than you think, Liam. It's not just a connection, it's a promise. A promise that we'll stand together, no matter what." Liam's chest tightened at her words. He wanted to believe her. He wanted to believe that everything would be okay. But the doubt was still there, creeping into his mind. He hadn't asked for this life. He hadn't asked to be thrown into the middle of galactic politics, to be a part of something so much bigger than himself. But as he looked at Seldra, he knew one thing for sure. He couldn't imagine his life without her. "I don't know what the future holds," Liam said, his voice thick with emotion. "But I'll fight for you, Seldra. I'll fight for this." Seldra smiled, her eyes shining with gratitude. "I know you will, Liam. I wouldn't want anyone else by my side." Liam reached out and took her hand, his grip firm. As he looked into her eyes, he realized that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The bond they shared was more than just a connection, it was a partnership, a promise that they would never give up on each other. And in that moment, Liam knew that he would fight for this bond, for Seldra, and for their future no matter the cost. The days on the ship grew more intense. Liam felt like he was constantly walking a thin line, caught between his old life and the strange new one he had been pulled into. Every time he thought he understood what was happening, something new would emerge to throw him off balance. But through it all, Seldra remained by his side, offering him strength when he felt weak, and a sense of purpose when everything seemed unclear. The bond between them had grown stronger, and as they spent more time together, Liam found himself more connected to her than he could have ever imagined. The feelings that had started as uncertainty were now a deep, unshakable force inside him. He knew that he was in this with her, no matter what came next. But the threat of their enemies still loomed, and it wasn't just the factions within Seldra's people anymore. As time passed, more and more threats began to surface. Alien factions that viewed their bond as a threat. Those who didn't understand why a human, a mere maintenance worker, had been chosen as the mate for an alien princess. There were whispers in the halls, and the tension in the air was palpable. One evening, as Liam and Seldra sat together in one of the quiet rooms of the ship, the weight of everything seemed to settle over them both. Liam could see the worry in Seldra's eyes, even though she tried to hide it. He knew that she was just as afraid as he was, if not more. "Liam," Seldra said softly, breaking the silence, "I know we've been through so much already, but I feel like it's just the beginning. We have to be prepared for what's coming." Liam looked at her, his heart heavy with the knowledge that she was right. They couldn't just ignore the danger, but people who didn't approve of their bond would do anything to destroy it, and he wasn't sure they were ready for what lay ahead. "I don't want to lose you," he said quietly, his voice filled with emotion. "I don't want to fail you." Seldra reached out and took his hand, her grip warm and firm. "You won't fail me," she said, her voice steady. In this together we will face whatever comes, side by side." Liam nodded, trying to find strength in her words, but the fear still lingered. They had already been through so much, but the hardest part was still to come. They had to face the enemy, and they had to decide what kind of future they wanted to build. "Do you think we can make it?" Liam asked, his voice barely a whisper. Seldra met his gaze, her eyes shining with unwavering confidence. "I know we can, as long as we have each other. There's nothing we can't face." Liam took a deep breath. She was right. They had already been through so much, and they were still standing. He wasn't just going to let this bond fall apart because of fear or doubt. He had a responsibility now, not just to Seldra, but to their future together. He had already made his choice, and there was no turning back. The following days were filled with preparation. Queen Ileana had made it clear that the enemies were closing in, and they couldn't afford to be caught off guard. Liam was trained in combat tactics, diplomacy, and even some of the basics of alien technology. Every lesson felt like another piece of the puzzle falling into place, but each piece added more pressure to his already heavy shoulders. Seldra was right by his side through it all, helping him learn, supporting him when he felt overwhelmed. She was everything he needed, strong, smart, and determined to protect what they had. One afternoon, as Liam and Seldra were in the training room, practicing hand-to-hand combat. Queen Ileana entered. "Liam Seldra," she said, her voice commanding but not unkind. "It's time." Liam paused, looking up at the Queen. "Time for what?" "It's time to prepare for the final confrontation," Queen Ileana replied. "The factions have gathered. They believe that the bond between you two is a threat to their power. It's time to face them. Liam, are you ready?" Liam's heart pounded in his chest. This was it. The moment they had been preparing for. The enemies were coming, and they had to stand their ground. He glanced at Seldra, who gave him a small nod, her eyes filled with quiet determination. He wasn't sure if he was ready for this fight, but looking at her, he knew he couldn't back down. "Not now, not ever." "I'm ready," Liam said, his voice steady despite the fear he felt. "I'll fight for you, for us, and for the future." "We're building," Queen Ileana nodded approvingly. "Good. You have a warrior's heart, Liam. It's time to show them that they cannot break what has already been forged." With those words, the final preparations began. Liam and Seldra, alongside Queen Ileana, began to strategize. They would meet their enemies head-on. It wouldn't be easy, but they had a plan. And for the first time since all of this began, Liam felt a surge of hope rise within him. He wasn't just a maintenance worker anymore. He was a part of something much bigger than himself. He was fighting for love, for peace, and for a future with He had made his choice. As they prepared for the battle ahead, Liam realized that no matter what happened next, he had already chosen his path, and he would fight with everything he had to protect the bond he had formed with Seldra. They were ready, and together, they would face whatever came next.